Good afternoon. This is Michael Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. I'm just going to do a very quick video kind of looking at our precipitation trends over the next couple of weeks, just to give you a little bit of a visualization of what we may be looking at. Of course, the pattern, as we all know, can be very volatile. So there's no guarantee on timing or location of any of this beyond a few days, but that's always the case. However, the Bering Sea and the North Pacific have been doing a pretty good job of showing when these dips in temperature and rises in temperature are going to come. And in the same way with storm systems, it can't really nail down exactly where they're going, but it does give us an idea of what's there. And so the latest GFS, I think, is reasonably close on that. So we're at tropicaltidbits.com, and we're going to take a quick look at the GFS and kind of scroll through. And the first thing we're going to be looking at here is getting into the morning Friday, and then by the afternoon Friday, and we can see there's let me switch and go to a different region here so we can see a little closer. So we can see that the majority of the state of Indiana is covered by rainfall by Friday afternoon. This may not be solid rainfall, maybe kind of hit and miss, or intensity may pick up and drop off, but the precipitation is likely. That front will then push on through by somewhere around midnight into very early Saturday. We'll get this quick dip of cool air into the region that won't last very long. Maybe get a little bit of reinforcement from a system that'll drop through the northeastern U.S. And then that'll move out of here. Now, I do think a lot of the model data has this, there's a warm spike that I believe is coming probably Monday and Tuesday ahead of a cold front, or ahead of a low pressure system and the cold front. And I think the model data may be struggling to see that. So my forecast for Monday and Tuesday is warmer than most data. The Canadian actually does seem to see it, though. So we'll see how that looks as it gets closer. It may be that I have to cool down, but nonetheless, this is into the very early hours of Tuesday, and then by Tuesday afternoon, then we've got another cold front pressing through. A nice big dip in these blues right here indicate colder air aloft. That's beginning to press its way in. And then by the evening, the GFS is picking up a little bit of mixing. I do think that is possible. It wouldn't be any kind of accumulation. It'd just be something where some flurries or some sleet might mix in with the rain as it attempts to get out of here. Of course, the later in the day that this occurs, the better chance that it turns into just snow. So we'll see how that times out as it gets on through. And then as we press on in, then, of course, again, you can see these blues dipping down into southern Indiana next Wednesday and into the day on Thanksgiving. So I know there were a lot of forecasts a couple of weeks ago talking about the Turkey Day torch. I was never on board with that because the Bering Sea kind of pointed against it. And that's kind of bearing itself out right now. So we'll see how things look on the other side of Thanksgiving, because again, Thanksgiving looks pretty dry. It looks cold. I'll show you my forecast here in a minute. But what we'll then turn our attention to is as we get into this is Sunday the 26th. You can see one low pressure system kind of running off through Kentucky. That moves on, and that sets up what may be a 1-2 punch according to the GFS. It may just be a more consolidated system. We'll see how that pans out, but we can see it taking a pretty favorable track. This is by the 28th, which is again pretty much on schedule. A chance for some accumulating snow, and then as that scoots out of there and we get into the 29th, the GFS has yet another system that may affect the eastern, probably southeastern 2/3 of Indiana. So that's all still a long way away. There's no ability to have details to even know if it's actually going to be accumulating snow. It could move farther to the northwest and thus end up on the warm side of it. There's really no way to know, but I do think at least the first system has been in play, And I do think that our first accumulating snow, I think I told you back at the beginning of November, I felt like it was going to come with the system at the end of this month or beginning of December. It's looking more like the end of this month. So I just wanted to show you these couple of systems as they scoot through. The Bering Sea does point to a renewed warm surge in early December. That will also be replaced by strong cold. We're going to be up and down. So I don't think we're going to get into December as just all mild and snowless. And, like so many people are just copying and pasting what El Nino typically is. This is not a typical El Nino. By most of the indexes, it's really not acting like a strong El Nino. The upper atmosphere is actually quite disconnected from the ENSO. So you got to be careful copying and pasting and saying it's going to be a mild, relatively snowless winter here in Indiana. And December does look like overall it's probably going to turn out mild, but there will be some cold shots, and there will be a couple of chances for snow. And how that all the odds of a white Christmas are pretty low, but we'll just see how that all pans out. So now I'm getting a little longer than I wanted, so let's take a look here at the forecast. I'll be uploading here pretty soon. Again, we're seeing the next couple of days we're going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Our next rain chance comes through on Friday. Temperatures will probably peak late morning, early afternoon on Friday, and then they'll begin to fall. Saturday looks pretty chilly. 51 might be too optimistic. 54 on Sunday might be too optimistic. We might stay in the 40s. Some data does keep us in the 40s. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm kind of thinking the warmth is going to want to return a little quicker. Saying, well, it helps if I don't mess up my own graphic here accidentally. So as we get into Monday, I think we're going to be around 60, maybe the lower 60s. Tuesday, our high temperature will probably occur in the morning, and then the temperatures will fall. And again, as I showed you on the GFS, maybe some late mixing going on with that. We'll see how that pans out. Next week for Thanksgiving, I think we're probably going to be in the low to mid 40s, a little bit colder than average. And probably warmest case scenario is upper 40s, which would be about average for Thanksgiving. So all that said, this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. And again, on my personal health, and for those of you who've missed it, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I had my prostate and a couple of my lymph nodes removed last Thursday. I'm still in recovery. And I feel pretty rough, but I'm starting to feel better. I think I'm turning the corner on that. So there's going to be some more testing that'll have to get done before we call this thing clear. But it does seem like they felt pretty good. They got the entirety of the cancer. I'm going to be out of work for at least a couple more weeks. So my goal is to go back in early December. But of course, the doctors and my health will determine that. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Thank all of you who have lifted me up in your prayers. I really appreciate that. And last but not least, please check out the pinned post at the top of the page and donate to the page, support the page if you can. It's going to be pretty important to me, especially this next couple or 3 weeks, as my pay will be lower because I'm burning up the last of my time in order to cover the time off. So if you can help out and you normally don't, please do so. If you normally do help out, thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors. And I've blathered long enough. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Have a great evening.